love for me. If I fell off tomorrow, would you still love me? If I didn't smell so good, would you still hug me? If I got locked up and set this to a quarter century, could I count on you to be there to support me mentally? If I went back to a hoopy for my fans, would you poof and disappear like some of my friends? If I was hit and I was hurt, would you be by my side? If it was time to put in work, would you be down to ride? I'd get out and chillin' drive. I'm asking questions to find out how you feel inside. If I ain't back cause I flip burgers at Burger King, would you be ashamed to tell your friends you're feeling me? In the bed, if I use my tongue, would you like that? If I wrote you a love letter, would you write back? Now we can have a little drink, you know, a nightcap. And we can go do what you like, I know you like that. Girl, it's easy to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me, girl? It's easy to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me? Now would you believe me if your father found out I was thugging? Do you believe me when I tell you you the one I'm loving? Are you mad cause I'm asking you 21 questions? Are you my soulmate? Cause if so, girl, you're a blessing. Do you trust me enough to tell me your dreams? I'm staring at you trying to figure how you got them dreams. If I was down, would you say things to make me smile? I treat you how you want to be treated, just teach me how. If I was with some other chick and someone happened to see, and when you asked me about it, I said it wasn't me. Would you believe me or believe me? How deep is our bond if that's all it takes for you to be gone? We only humans, girl, we make mistakes. To make it up, I do whatever it takes. I love you like a fat kid love cake. You know my style, I say anything to make you smile. Girl, it's easy to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me, girl? It's easy to love me now. Aboni boni banana babelela lokie. Utuini mokolo ya bandoki bangalakanga. Tono itani bakolo todo babeni makambo. Ah, naleli mama, naleli papa, naleli mama, naleli papa. Papa lolo Papa kiwapie, Papa lolo Papa kiwapie.
Oh yes, and I'm just getting started with some amazing vibes here. These are the Thursday vibes that I'm bringing you right here on the Black Hot Fire Radio, media for the 21st century. Karibuni sana family to another episode, or rather to another broadcast of the Pan-African Bliss. My name is Joby, and of course, if you are looking forward, or if you are just joining us, asante sana and karibu, for being with us on today's broadcast. It is 54 minutes, or rather 6 minutes to 12 p.m. right here in Nairobi, and 54 minutes past 11 a.m. right here in the 254, and the day is the 3rd of March, the year 2022, and I hope that this day is finding you in good hands and in good health, and in the right state of mind. When you speak about the right state of mind, you're speaking about peace, because there's nothing so good as having some peace of mind. But karibuni sana family. If you are looking forward to interacting with us, we are live and interactive on Facebook, on Twitter, and also on Instagram. And if you are joining us for the first time, kindly do remember to join us officially. That is by you creating your own profile through our website on the www.blackhotfirenetwork.com, and you'll be able to join the family and get to learn and enjoy these amazing vibes. I did get to play you some 50 cents over there. That is 21 questions. And of course, it is some TBT, and I do know that most of you are familiar with these jams. And I also did get to play you some jam. It is all the way from the DRC Congo, if I'm not wrong. It goes by the name Papa Lolo. I think I had the name of the guy, or rather the name of the artist, is Mose Fan, and I think I heard that he died some time back ago after this song went viral, if I'm not wrong. But I'll be confirming about that. But karibuni sana, and of course, we're looking forward once again to having an amazing conversation. Do remember remember yesterday I did enlighten on what we'll be talking about today. So in case I'll be giving some time to wait to see the family joining, and I do hope that Keith is also going to be able to join us. And in case it doesn't, rather in case you don't catch up with this live, I hope that you'll be able to replay and also learn something out of it, because today it is the Thursday stories, and I just have amazing vibes, not amazing vibes, but also just some life tips. And yesterday we were discussing about look at the child labor, the child abuse that is going on outside here. When you speak of also domestic violence, all these things have a connection, and we'll be talking more of that, and also have some news and updates. We keep on asking ourselves, why is it that Africans are running away? And you look at the situation right now, what is happening in Ukraine, and how Africans right now have been stuck. We have people. We saw that we had some Ukraine people who are stuck in Zanzibar, that is the Tanzanian border, and we also have some 24 Ukrainians also who have been stuck in Kenya. We'll be discussing more of that, but we tend to ask ourselves, as much as right now Africans are trying to run, back home, they're trying to get their way to come home. Kenyans are also trying to find a way on how they can escape, running away from Africa, which is totally crazy. We'll be discussing of that, because it seems that even our government officials, I remember there's a time I bumped into a certain post. Someone did post and say that, you tend to ask yourself, you as a politician, or rather why politicians, when after they retire, why is it that someone will all of a sudden become broke? Why they'll do this is because of one of the things, I think, or rather one of the mistakes we do, or rather even for Africans at large. You tend to invest much money outside Africa. By the time you want to take everything, or rather your wealth back, you've invested in this country, and maybe everything is running smoothly, everything is developing, but you're trying to return this money back home. It is a problem, not only for Africans as well, but I also did get to discover for some government officials. And that's why we tend to hear someone has been killed, the matters of extrajudicial killing. There is deeper in these matters, or other this thing called politics, that no one wants to really talk about. We'll be checking on that. We did get to see the issue of the Pandora Papers, which leads us to so many questions. And this also has a history, or other a story behind it. We did get to see some people who want some offshores outside Africa, or other outside Kenya, and we'll be talking more of that. But keep it tuned right here on the Black of Fire Radio. We'll be coming back after just this short musical break. For now, just enjoy this vibe. If you are just waking up and you are preparing for work, as you brush your teeth, as we say in Swahili, kupiga rangi, like polishing your shoes, if they're just preparing, getting ready for work. This is some amazing jam to listen to. I remember when I was young, I've grown up listening to Lingala, to we used to call them Zilizopendwa, to Rumba, and all these. Every morning when I used to go to school, I used to memorize each and every song. I could tell, even when the radio station is turned on, I could tell after this song, this is what they're going to play, because those are the type of music we listen to, not the type of music right now you hear Kenyans complaining about. As Kenyans are listening to this the most. You tend to listen to the content, and also we have forgotten about the African rhythm, which is really important. And I think Congolese do, the DRC Congo, the part of the DRC Congo, they really do get to represent this the most. But enjoy this amazing one.
Ebalezana wikuwe abotio kotina ligumba pando kiba kitiselio misore papalolo babakiro wapi papalolo babakiro wapi. Aquela mokili atia pema na mopepe abesa biso pema topeba akela biso neleli nyoka atia biso la bomu tango yoso I love you papa lolo baba kiwa pie papa lolo baba kiwa pie. Osangela kalia katuka. Mokili le kabala na yoe. Ebale zanga mikuwa ege. Waboti okoti na linguma. Anoki bakiti seli yo miso. Papalolo Babakio wakie. Papalolo
Hey, and then you just enjoy this amazing vibe. Yeah? If you don't listen to Rumba, I don't know what you listen to. You know, I had someone today bumped into a certain video where there was this young youth who was talking about, you're in your 20s and you know how to sing Rumba, you know how to sing Lingala. Like, there's some missing information that you really need to get to know. But there's nothing wrong with being me being on my 20s and I know Rumba. Me, I've grown up listening to Rumba, and I think there's a time I also did get to mention that some part of no, I didn't mention it, but I think I told Kate. Yeah, some part of my family members also are, they come from the Congo side. So I grew up listening to a lot of Lingala, Rumba. So I tend to, I love it. I'm so in love with them. But Karibuni Sana family, this is the Pan African Bliss, and I hope that you are doing great. My name is Joby. Karibuni Sana to the Black Fire Radio Media for the 21st century. It's another day, and it is an amazing, beautiful day on my side. I don't know about you, but Asante Sana for being with us and to today's broadcast. It is 2 minutes past 12 p.m. right here in Nairobi, but kindly do engage with us. Do not just be looking at Joby over there. She's talking. Just say hi. It always feels so good when you see someone, someone is watching you, but they can be able to wave. Don't just look at me and you're seeing Joby. She's just talking. You're not even correcting her if she's making a mistake. Open up, speak up. Today I woke up and I with the affirmation that I'm normally used to telling myself, the same affirmation I'll be telling you, family. When you wake up and you feel like at your lowest, look at yourself in the mirror, tell yourself, I am enough, I have enough, and I do enough. And that is, that gives you energy. And the same thing also gave me another quote where I woke up and told myself, I'm not going to live with fear, and I'm not going to allow people's voices in my head, limit me to what I really want to do. I'm going to keep on doing, because I think Africans, I don't know if it is Africans or it is everywhere in every street. So when you tend to walk and you are a pretty lady, especially to the men who know they don't have the audacity to know how to get to you, or they don't have the audacity to know how to tap or reach out to you, even say hi. They're going to talk negativities about you. That is you being less of a man. A good, or rather a straight man, will come to you, approach you and say, hi, I think you look good and this and this and this. Not yapping. So I told myself, I'm not going to allow fear, allow people's voices in my head, mess my day or do anything. So yes, because Joby looks good. But Karibuni Sana family, to interact with us, just let me know where are you streaming with us from and what is the time over there, because it is about to get down. And I did get to mention also, I did share the link, and in case you want to join us and listen what's up, it is the Thursday stories, and I have just a personal story to share, and you don't want to miss this. I don't know how the information might help you, or rather how it might help someone who is in a situation like that. But I'm so glad to be sharing this today with you, our family. But before that, I have news and updates coming all the way from Kenya, and I want just to talk about some we have seen politicians, when it comes to the funding of Africa, we've seen why Africa is not growing, because we've seen, one, we have in terms of loans, all this, I said all this has a history. When you look at the history, all this has been dragged to where we are today. And when you look at the African continent, most of us, we keep on, yesterday we did get to see that, is it the Ghanaians or the Nigerians? The Nigerians did say that they're going to fund their students loans to continue with better education. But I was saying that this is putting a country in more debt. Was it Nigeria or was it Ghana? I'm not really sure, but those are country. We did get to mention that they're going to be funding their students, give them loans to continue with education in the continent. Why not rather create better, education in the continent, where we need to be taught about what is really real, what this politics, how it runs, just keeping us on the, but again, as Kid says, no one will teach you how to overthrow them. So that's why you look at the education of Africa is really so messed up. But again, you tend to ask yourself, we've seen when it comes to money, where we have education needs to be funded. Yesterday, I was talking about why, when you look at the cases of cancer in Africa. Why they are so high? This because the medical funds are being pocketed. And where are these funds going? When you look at the system of also, even some road constructions are also stuck, where maybe the contractors keep the money and they escape. It is another case which needs to be taken to the ICC, the Hague. It is always this Pandora, it always this, this craziness that is always going. But there is some discovery, rather some news reports which have also come forth today, and that these about the 5 islands where Kenyan billionaires, including the politicians, where they stash their wealth. And they're saying that 4 Kenyans for Kenya, 4 years, Kenyan government has been pursuing wealth, and individuals that have seemingly devised new ways to avoid paying much of needed taxes. This is in the country, and they're saying that the expose of the Panama and the Pandora Papers uncovered the extent to which individuals and dynasties, some with influential connection in the government, are willing to go to ensure that the wealth remains untouched. And it is estimated that over 5 trillion has been hidden by Kenyans in offshore accounts. This is totally crazy. That is over 5 trillion. While we have the continent right here in Africa where people are striving, rather, they are dying of hunger. A lot is really going on. You tend to ask yourself what is really going on. Why is it that the government cannot fund money to provide food for these people? As much as we know that Africa is really rich in food, but right now we know the state we are in. We have our resources that have been given away, where we tend to rather, when you look at the matters of agriculture, where we are speaking of agriculture, not so many people have information on what they can do or how to go about it. And also people are neglecting culture. But this really brings up a lot, because they have mentioned that one of the islands that Kenyans have really invested on, especially the Kenyan politician, is the Jersey Islands. But again, this still brings me to the same point that I said. Certain statement where someone said, and this is someone who has connections with the same politicians, and she was like, she's a young female, but she was like, young youths need to really invest in the continent, because most of us are really influenced by these politicians, where when they get the smallest money, or once they get into power, the smallest money, all they don't think of investing in the country. That's why every money is being funded, they'll pocket it, but they'll take it elsewhere, outside Africa. But again, when it comes to them returning this money in the country, it is hard. This someone who has connections with the politicians, who really did get to state this statement, because which is really crazy, because I've seen, which is totally true, I've seen some of the politicians who have retired, and when you try to look at trace their paths, they're nowhere to be found. It's because, one, they have invested so much money outside the continent, because of greediness and selfishness. You don't want to give young youths employment in the continent. All you think about is yourself and your family. So if I'm even getting that money into the country, it is going to be so hard. And if you tend to act like you are stubborn, you end up in the extrajudicial killing list, where people tend to disappear, and that no one knows what really happened to you as a politician. But again, they're saying that one of the islands that has been really invested on is the Jersey Island, and the ranking at the top of the list, it seems that Kenyan tycoons have fallen in love with the Jersey Islands and capability to help them evade taxes. And the island is located off the South England's coast, that is 12 miles west of the contained peninsula, if I'm pronouncing it well, and of France. And most individuals have been accused of stashing the cash on the island, and are said to use lax tax regime to laundry money. This is totally crazy, and these are Kenyan politicians. The second island is the Seaman, but there is one which really shocked me. We have Jersey Island, we have Cayman. Is it Cayman Island? We also have British Virginia Island. But one of them which really shocked me is when you look at the number of the population, which is in each country where maybe these islands are located, when you look at the number of the people and the number of businesses, the number of businesses are quite bigger than the number of people. So you tend to ask yourself, which fraud is really going on in between these? And we also have, this is in terms, because there is another one which made There is the, I think it is the Cayman, if I'm not really wrong. Let me just read this particular. The Cayman Island has been at the center of the money laundering claims for quite some time, since becoming one of the most preferred destination for drug trafficking. And it is located at the South Cuba. The territory comprises of Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac and Cayman, which measures 264 square kilometers. It is also known for having more companies than its population of about 60,000 people, and it is said to have a wealth of more than 200 trillion. I mean 200 Kenyan Kenyan shillings trillion, 200 trillion Kenyan shillings stashed in the across the world, which is totally crazy. The amount of corruption, I was saying yesterday, the amount of corruption we have in our continent is totally really, really crazy. But our family, do engage with me and do let me know, what do you think about this? Is this I think this is one of the reasons, of which is also a problem, one of the reasons, one of the reasons that Kenyans, rather most of the Africans, run away from Africa, it is because of when you look at the African continent, instead of us developing, we are stuck in one place. When you look at the matters of economy, things are rising high, and when you look at the matters of market as well, things are going down, especially since the pandemic came around. Because there's also another report also, which also it is like connected to this. There's the reason why wealthy Africans are running away from the continent, and they say that wealthy Africans are leaving the country in search of good and secure life, better education for their children, for to reduce the amount of tax they are subjected to. And they're saying that other reasons include chasing better markets and investment venues and enjoying quality healthcare outside the country. When you look at the matter, yesterday I just discussed the matter of health. When you look at the matters of health, things have been made super expensive in Africa, where you find for maybe someone who also wants to invest in also medical, and you want to make things easier for you, like you want to invest in, maybe a hospital, open up your own hospital. It is going to be so hard for you because you already have a competitor who is bigger, and this competitor, he has like the easiest way of getting things done, unlike you. For you want to do things smoothly, which is going to be so hard for you as a normal mwananchi. So you find that most of the people, they're running away, especially because of the business. As I said, things had drowned. Like since the pandemic came into the continent, so many people lost a lot, so many businesses went down. So you find that so many people feel like there's no growth in the continent itself. So when you try to grow, it's like you're going down. I don't know if you are getting it, but kindly do engage with me and do let me know. Do you think that what are your thoughts regarding this matter? Because we are seeing, the Pandora Papers has led to so much things, and right now we can see that so many politicians, instead of the money which is being funded in the country, or the continent, to go invest in this, let's fund in this, let's invest in this. None of this money is being invested in our country or our continent. It's being invested outside Africa, which is totally crazy. And again, as from the information I got, when these politicians get this money out, it is so hard for them to return it also in the country. That's why you tend to see that most politicians most of them disappear. You hear someone has died, this has really happened, which is really crazy. Do let me know what are your thoughts regarding these matters, and I will be back after this short musical break. For now, enjoy this one. This is Malibu System, and I hope that you get to enjoy this one. Yes.
Yoka Misiki. Yep, tes petits frères te rendent hommage. Lokasa ya mbongo, utamani, mafebia. Alors Gabriel, Carlos Telecel, Boss Matuta, epai wapi bomona bapeta penalti sa gardien, Bia Mbuyo, Matata ya mwasi na mobali silande na mokili mama, mama. Oh mama, mama, mama. Oh mama.
Oh yes, and you can send in your request before I get into the Thursday stories, because as I said today, I have a story to share, and is this is the story of my life, and you can maybe get as kids said, you can maybe get your handkerchiefs ready, but if you are as cold as a stone, if you are as cold as a stone, you can be able to, endure with me the same way I endured this.
Mama abota ngai mwasi oyo akonyokolo ngai mwasi nzambe apesi ngai etumbu nabotaka basi bandeko banyokolo komana ya bato nayokaka motema pasi bandeko mama 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 matata ya mwasi na mobali silande na mokili mama 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 mama
Yes, and I've listened to Rumba the whole day, Manzi. Let me just cut it over there because I love Rumba so bad, and I'm obsessed with that type of music. Karibuni sana once again. We are back with the Pan African Bliss right here on the Blackout Fire Radio Media for the 21st century. Do remember to interact with us. We are on Facebook, on Twitter, and also on Instagram. And do let me know, where are you streaming with us from, and how is this amazing day finding you? It being the 3rd of March, the year 2022, and it is 17 minutes past 12 p.m. right here in the 254. What about you? Kindly do engage with me. Nimesema tu, I have just requested, don't just look at me. Just say something. Come on. Just say something. But I was just discussing before I get into the Thursday story, because it is quite long. But I was just saying that, when you look at like our countries, rather, why so many of us have been led into poverty is because, corruption is really corruption. I was saying corruption. We have tribalism, we have religion, which is super crazy. These things are leading the continent, and that is why you find that most of us will not be able to develop or proceed. Because one, for me, as a if I come from this particular tribe, you'll find it is also hard for me to invest in another region because of still the matters of tribalism. It is happening even in terms of business. It is happening in terms of developing. People cannot be able to move on, or rather, you cannot be able to invest in some areas because you are this tribe. It is happening. So you tend to find that most of the people are running away to go invest in the country. But again, which is not safe, because right now with whatever is happening in Ukraine is an eye-opening matter. And it is a high time that people get to see we really need to invest in the continent itself. But if only we are given that opportunity, if we only stop, or rather we don't get the matters of corruption, or because you're this tribe, because you are a Kikuyu, you cannot go invest in Kambani. If you are a Luo, you cannot go invest in Kikuyu, which is totally crazy. Like we are limited, which is one of the things that we really need to stop. That is one of the things that I'd urge Africans, if you are given the opportunity to talk to them, you need to stop this. You need to stop tribalism. You need to practicing this. And also for the politicians, we need true leaders, because these are not leaders, and at the end of the day, even for them, it is a loss. Because one, even if something right now was to happen in one of these, we have there have been 5 mentioned islands. I said Jersey Islands, we have the Cayman Islands, we have the British Virginia Island, we have the Channel Islands, and the Mauritius Island. And most of these islands actually they have so much money, more than even the population which is in the country. Like so much business going on there, more than what has been, more than the population of the continent itself. So we find that even if something was to happen one day, like the same thing that has happened, like God knows what, the same thing that has happened in Ukraine right now, or if the same thing was to happen in these particular islands, it will be a loss for them as even the leaders, African leaders. So we need true leaders. One, we need true leaders. We need to stop the matters of politics. We need to stop the matters of tribalism, for us to move on and better, for us to have better education, which you're trying to seek outside. for us to have a better market, for us to compete wisely, not with greediness and hatredness, and including anger and jealousy. We need to first, you know the same way we are trying to introduce Swahili, the same way we need to start loving one another. Someone yesterday bumped into someone yesterday going home, as I get to wind up with this story and get to the Thursday stories. I bumped into someone yesterday, and he asked me, hi, I've been seeing you around. What is your name? So I was like, okay, I'm Joby. He told me I'm Mark and I'm a Luo. That is the like, I'm Mark and I'm a Luo. I was like, who asked you about your tribe? That is the first thing I really asked. Or like, no, I don't have any bad intentions. I just wanted to talk to you and all that. Nah, that is already you already killed the mood and all that, that is totally crazy. Like, we need to stop approaching everyone with that tribalism shit. That is what we really need to stop, like, completely, which is totally crazy. For me, when he asked me which tribe I am, I said I'm an African, and you don't need to ask me or rather know where I'm coming from. As long as I'm talking to you, you can understand me. You're talking in Swahili, I can hear you, you can hear me. What is the problem? Why do you need to know where I come from? Which is, it won't help you with anything at the end of the day. It won't help you with anything. But those are the thoughts that I have regarding these matters that which is ongoing with us, Africans trying to run away from the country and all that. But before I move on to the story, I wanted to talk about the 28 Ukraine citizens who have been stranded also in Kenya, and they're saying that they have been found that 28 Ukraine citizens, they are on tourist visits to Kenya, are stranded in hotels at the country's south coast, following the ongoing war between Russia. And they're saying that, speaking to the media on Wednesday, that was yesterday, Marie, a Ukraine citizen, stated that she fears returning to her home country even the situation in Kiev worsens. And she revealed that she and her husband had flown to Kenya to come and celebrate the birthday that they were supposed to celebrate. And the mother, actually, apparently, the mother of the lady is a Ukrainian and the dad is a Russian. So there is a fight between these two countries. But again, the same country, which is Kenya, has given them also an accommodation in the Diani Sea Resort, and that they have been told not to pay anything. They can be staying there. And I was just, when you look at this, is why you find that most people are running away, because this is bringing a loss to the business. When you're giving other people favors, and if it were for we Africans, if we were stuck in the same situation in Ukraine or in another country, with even the price would even go double, because you're overstaying there, you're overstaying in the country, you are a threat to the country already. So I do hope that Africans, we can be able to, we need to stop all this sympathy and empathy thing, which yesterday I did get to see or rather hear the word from the Africa Today show. And of course, my apologies also. Yesterday my internet went out, and I couldn't continue with the streaming. So I do hope that I'll rewatch the rest of the program from where I really left from. But getting to the Thursday stories, I don't know where the family is, but I wish you were here, because I can see one person who is here with us, but I wish everyone was here. But I'll get to the Thursday stories, and I'll just start with my childhood. And my childhood has been a hard one. My childhood was, just like any family which has problems, my family also had problems of its own. So I was born on 3rd of December, the year 1998. I'm 23, and of course, you know me, I'm Joby. So after Joby being born, after 2 years, after 2 years of her being born, my parents had to divorce. That is, after me being born, 2 years after me being born, my parents had to divorce, because I also had a brother who was born 4 months after me being born. So you know what really happened over there. So this led my mom, because at that time she was a young lady, where I think it was at that point where still Africans, we were getting, like, where, if you don't get married at a young age, it's like, you feel like you're out of place. It is still happening, but my mom got married at a very young age. She gave birth to me when she was 17, 18, if I'm not wrong. And so it led my mom to walking out of the marriage because she couldn't stay with a cheater. She said she couldn't stay with a cheater, as much as I was young to understand it. So there was an issue of who could go with me and who was to stay with me. So I remember they took the matter to the chief. At this time, we had the chief who was solving the issues. Just like the same we have, the I don't want to call it the co-parented, but the same way we have, you can, where you are obligated to taking care of a child. We had chiefs who are solving the issues. So I remember they took the matter to the chief, and my dad won the case, and he ended up going with me. And instead of him taking me to his place, he ended up dumping me to his sister. Which my mom felt so bad, because the wife at that time, my dad, after him divorcing my mom, he remarried. He married a friend of my mom's, whom they had given birth to a brother whom we are almost the same age. I am 4 months older than him. Yeah. So where was I? So after that, my dad took me to my aunt. So I was supposed to stay there, but my mom, I think she didn't want me being with another person, so she had to find a way. Every Saturday she used to come and see me. I was young, but I remember she gave me the story, and I can also remember the some part of that life, how it was. So she she used to come and see me on weekends. And then one day on a Saturday, she came and stole me. She took me away from my aunt and took me to the remote areas. So that's why I keep on saying that I've grown some part of my life in the remote areas. So when I went to the remote areas, life was not that easy, because I was born in Nairobi. So I had some, I already know Swahili. Being in the remote areas was hard for me. People thought, especially going to school, where you're now going to a school, you don't know any mother tongue language and all this. It is your first time thing. So going there, it was so hard, like fitting in this in the community. It was so hard because most of the children used to say I'm boasty. Most of them used to, like they used to see me like a very important person. The same thing we see with Africans. Like if you know English, there's some people now, if you know Swahili, it's like, you are very important, which is totally crazy. But for me, I just saw myself as a very, very, very normal person. So growing up there, it was not that easy. I had a very cruel aunt also growing up, because I was supposed to say, my mom had to take me to his cousin to hide me there, and she had to go back to Nairobi to come now look for a job, to start sending money and find a way on how she can be stable and take me back, to her life. So it was not that easy for me staying in the rural areas. But after 2 years, that is when I was forced to like learn mother tongue. It was not that easy. I had to, because of failing in class. There's a time, if you guys can remember, I said that I became number last in class, and everyone laughed at me, and I was supposed to learn mother tongue because the exam used to come in, with mother tongue, which was super, super hard for me. But I stayed there for like 2 years. So I studied there class one, class two. So I had to come back when I was going to class three, but that was after the post election, which happened in 2007. And that is when we had to come back to Nairobi. That's when my mom had come to hide. She told me, in Nairobi it is dangerous and all this, but after everything is okay, I'll be going back with you. You won't have to stay here anymore, because I was being tortured. If you look at, I can't show you, but I have scars where, I was being tortured by the person I used to stay with. There's a time she made me, even I passed out, like I couldn't realize myself till I was in the hospital, because of how she used to beat me, how she used to cane me all the time and all that. She doesn't want to see me play, just like the way a child can be playful and all that. I was a very playful person. I loved playing. So my mom took me back with that to Nairobi. That was after 10 years. Not really after 10 years. I stayed in Nairobi for for in the remote areas for 2 years. But after 10 years of her being single, she was remarried. So she came and took me back to Nairobi, and that was to the husband. Now she was married to a Ugandan, and at that time she was pregnant. So I went back to Nairobi. I was introduced. Everything was smooth. The guy was amazing, but it reached to a point where still these matters of tribalism and of where someone else cannot take care of another person's child. That is where the issue came in, because I remember the stepdad, which he was my stepdad, but I never took him like a stepdad, because at first he was very amazing to me. But again, the sisters came to him and told him, we don't want you, taking care of this baby. you can have the wife because the wife has a child, but you don't want this lady in this house. She has to go. So my mom felt bad. I didn't really understand anything because I was still young. I was in class 6, I was in class 6. I was in class 6. I remember it was the prince, someone's prince, the prince, this royal family's wedding. It was not Prince Harry, but I think the brother, the wedding. And I remember it was that day I was watching the wedding, and I used to dream of how you want to have a big wedding and all that, but which is not a fantasy anymore. But I remember that day. So the husband called my mom, and he was like, I don't want to find Joby dad there. I don't want to find Joby there. I want her gone. You have to stay, but she has to go. So you have to find a way where you can take her, but I don't want to find her in that house. So that was a threat to me and also to my mom. I became scared and I started crying. And my mom was like, I'm not going to let anything happen to you. I'll have to go with you. So my mom vacated, but she had to vacate with everything in that house. She had to vacate with everything in that house. So she took literally almost everything, not really everything, but what was really important, like, mattress, the gas, cooking, and all that for the survival before she finds a way on how we can survive. My brother was young at that point. And this is the brother, the brother who was pregnant at that time of election, and he is my heart. He is like everything to me even now. I really love him so much. I never consider him as a step brother or anything, even to the rest of my siblings, but for him is really special to me. I don't know how, but I just love him so much. But so we were forced to move out. So after moving out, we had to go to my mom's friend. Life there was so easy, not really easy, but really hard because it was a really different area. Very crazy areas, very so much sewages and all that. I remember there's a time my brother almost drowned. You know, because of a sewage. He almost drowned. He almost, like, I couldn't have found him if it wasn't for someone. There's a time he was playing outside and he turned to step on something, which was, crazy. And he was, like almost disappearing because of sewage, which is totally crazy. So we had to evacuate out of there. My mom had to find a job. And, life became a little bit easier. Then we vacated to another different area. Now I was in class 7 now. And, I had to grow up with all that. Then going to class 8, that is when my mom made me meet my dad. Like, life became a little bit easier because she had a job now. I'm going to school, she's paying school fees, but things were not that easy for her, still being a single mom. She had my brother to take care of. At that time, he used to get sick all the time and all that, so it was really hard for her. So one day she told me, you have to take a shower, you have to dress this and this and this. And I was really shocked. Why are you telling me what to dress? You never tell me what to dress. So I never used to argue with her. My mom was a very easy person, so I just do what she tells me. So I dressed up and we went and met my dad. I had the instincts. I remember very well. And if you are alive today, I'd tell her. I remember very well. I had the instincts clear that I was going to meet my father, but I was not sure. So when we got there, that is when I saw that, this guy, we really kind of look alike, but I'm not sure. And she told me, this is your dad. I was like, wow, okay. So it was very nice to me at first. It was very, very, I was really happy to know that I was never that kind of a kid who grew up asking, where is my dad? It was never in my head because my mom gave me the love of a father and a mother. I never had to question. But when she brought it up, I had to respect it. She had her own reasons and I never want to question why. But the issue became, or rather the issues began now when I had to move in with my dad, which was so hard for me, so hard for me because I'm already used to my mom. Now I have to move in with another person, but which is necessary because of one, school fees. He has to play the father figure now. My mom was like, I was becoming a teenager, and at that time I was kind of stubborn. So she was like, she couldn't deal with me alone. I was kind of, when you get into that teenagehood, you're going to be stubborn, this and this and this. I was that stubborn, but not with the boyfriend thing and all that. I could just come home late. I'm making stories. Rather, I'm just all over the place. But I was never a misbehaving kid. So I had to move in with my dad. That was me now going to the last class of my primary education. And my primary education. And I remember that is the time we had, before me moving in, we had issues. Remember, it was a bad day. Just the same. Right now, the system has changed. The system of education has changed. We used to have like 3 terms where you had the the April holiday. We had the August holiday and the December holiday. And now my birthday is in December, and I'm about to go to class 8. So I told my dad, it's my birthday by through phone call before me moving in. He told me, I don't have money. You think you think money is being, you think people are just picking up money from nowhere. It was really, he used a very bad tone, and I'm not used to, anyone shouting at me. So I was like, why did you have to shout? You didn't have to shout at me. You just had to tell me, rather just tell me not today, or rather you found me in a very bad state. I was a kid then, but I was very understanding, because my mom made me grow up with that mind of understanding when there's something is there and when it is not. So I went and told my mom. Dad shouted at me, and she told me, you don't cry, it is your birthday, I'll make something special for you, which she did. She made me her homemade pizza, which was really amazing, for the first time me having pizza. And I went ahead and texted him. That is when I really got mad, and I really asked myself so many questions. This is the person I'm told I'm going to stay with, if he's really shouting at me like this just because of us saying it is my birthday. All I wanted is just happy birthday, or maybe just send a simple present. I never wanted much. But I felt so bad. So I texted him and told him, this is the reason why your kids will always keep on running away from you, because at that time he had married a third wife now. After him divorcing my mom, he married a friend, my mom's friend, whom, I have a brother older than me. I have a brother whom, I'm older than with 4 months, like I'm bigger than him just after 4 months. Then for them, they stayed, I don't know for how long. Then he had to divorce again, then marry another, the third wife, whom now I found. So I texted him and told him, this is why your kids will keep on running away from me, because at that time I was not staying with him, and he really made me not want to stay with him after that tone. But at that time also my brother was not staying there. So it was really, these just the same way, just any family has issues the same way mine. But mine now got complicated deeper when I met him. So I was forced to stay with my dad, but things now got very complicated because of education. He used to cane me all the time, because of failing, but out of which I was not failing, because there is the way the Kenyan education runs. If you are below 250 marks, that is totally failure. But for me, I was above 300. I never went above 3. I never went below 300 nor above 300. I was ever there. I'm never going up, I'm never going down, of which is a pass mark, for according to the system of education. But for him, he wanted me to become a number one by force, which was never, you can never force the energy which is not yours. You can never force something that was not yours. So that is when we began having issues, because all the time you used to beat me, something I'm not used to. You caning me all the time, you're shouting at me all the time. I'm coming back home. Every time I used to go to school, I was a quiet person. I never used to talk, because there's a time even the head teacher went ahead and asked him, why is it that your kid never speaks at school? She's always quiet. She's never playing with people. She's always on her own. Because every time I used to be stressed, at home, you are being given stress. That is by your father and by your stepmother. Because at the first time, my stepmom never liked me at all. And I remember there's a time she made her kid write a note for me, this is not your home. I remember I was in school. Then it was placed, in the middle of my book, in the middle of my book. So when I was taking the book out, when I was in class, I found the note, this is not your home, go back to your home. So it really made me feel bad. I cried and took the note back later to the same dad. He acted like he was angry, but these people were literally never on my side, it was so hard for me. It was so hard. So I remember I used to come back from school. I have the school I was taken to, it was really a very strict school. I don't know why they took me there. It's because, as I said, I was at that particular point where you are a teenager, but I was a very humble teenager. After me meeting my dad, things became totally very hard for me, because I could not play anymore. I could not hang with friends anymore, because I'm in a new area. I barely know anyone, so it was really, really hard for me. And it was really just so hard. So I remember there was a time me coming back from school. The school, as I said, it was really strict. You used to be caned, especially if you fail, if you don't do your homework, if you wrong your homework. I used to go back home and tell my dad and stepmom to help me with homework, and they couldn't, because either I'm busy or either I don't know. So you have to guess the thing you can guess, because you have to answer the homework instead of taking it blank at school because you're afraid of being caned. So so I remember there's a day I had so much. I had to that day I had to do my I had to wash my uniform because I had only one uniform, one pair of uniform. So I had to wash it like thrice a week. So I remember that day I had to wash my uniform. I had my shoes to brush, my sister's shoes to brush. I had, I had to cook dinner, pass buy dinner, come with it home. Be- Come buy dinner, come with it home, cook. After cooking, I do my homework. After doing my homework, I have to do the dishes. After doing the dishes, I have to now wash the uniform. After washing the uniform, I have to now brush the shoes. At that time, you sleep like, something like 12, 1. There's a time I remember I slept at 3 and I cried so, so bad because I was supposed to be at school by 6. It was so, so hard for me. I'm asking myself, so what am I even going to sleep? Like, I've not even rested my head. I'm stressed and all this. I told my mom, I called my mom. I remember there's a time I called her and told her I'm going to drop out of school if I continue living here with stress. I'm done. I'm tired of crying every day and I never tell you. And she was like, why don't you ever tell me? Because I'm threatened not to tell you. I'm threatened not to tell you. And I'm also scared if I come back home, I might not end up also continuing with studies because you're not financially stable. So she had to talk with my dad and to calm the situation down. And that is when now me going to high school. Now my high school period was really hard. Now at the high school, that is when I began developing teeth. I remember the time my stepmom came to me and told me, you think now you are a grown woman because you have things growing on your chest, you think you can talk, rather you can behave anyhow in front of me or in front of my husband. Or like, what did I even do? What did I like? Every time I used to be found on the wrong side, even doing a small mistake, instead of someone approaching you in a very polite way, it was so hard for me. But now things became tougher when my mom passed away. That was when I was in Form 3. My mom discovered a cancer when I was going to Form 3, and the lump grew bigger and bigger. And that is when she went for an operation, and then she found out she was not supposed to go for an operation. She was supposed to start the chemotherapy, which is also a killer, because after that she became weaker and weaker, like I said yesterday. And we know how the cancer, all these treatments and the medications, they are not to anything good. But yeah, that things became deep, very deep and complicated for me after my mom passing away, because after her passing away, that is when I saw the true colors of who my dad is. And at that point is when my stepmom, she acted like she was a friend, but she wasn't. She was really an enemy. She is a stepmother after all. She might be a mother to her kids, but she is a stepmom to me. So I remember there's a day my mom told me a stepmom will always remain a stepmom. I should never trust her, but I gave her my trust because she showed me she cared and she didn't. So I remember there's a time I got sick after my mom passing away. I developed ulcers. I developed ulcers, and these ulcers, there's a time it went too deep because I was really affected. It went too deep where it affected somehow. I was told the acidity. I don't know what, but I was told the acidity is affecting my head. That at that time I used to have constant headaches all the time, and it also used to affect my eyesight, like in such a way. I'm short-sighted, but it used to affect me in such a way I couldn't see clearly, like I couldn't totally see anything, like it's like I'm seeing blur. So I had to go to the hospital. And also I also had blood infection. I was really sick, totally sick at that particular point. So I had to go to the hospital, but I had to come home and tell my dad first. But I remember before me going, he accused me of he told me I'm pregnant, I have AIDS, I have STDs. I just want to waste his money, and I know what is really eating me up. And at that particular point, I was totally sick because I used to be in high school. I used to be very rude to teachers, especially because I was those one of the rudest students. Even if you go to borrow for permission to go home, if you're sick, you'll not be given. But at that day, I was given permission to go home because I was really, really feeling bad. But my dad never trusted me. So he told me, you're sick, you have HIV, or you. And he told me, I remember he told my stepmom to take me to the hospital, and he told her, ensure that lady, she has been measured, rather she has been, the doctors take the test of, pregnancy test, the AIDS, the STDs, and all that. And that was really, I remember I really, really cried. I really, really cried. So I went to the hospital, and I explained to the doctor the same way you go to the hospital, explain to the doctor, well, how are you feeling, what is really eating you up. I told the story, but before me being given the medication and the right to step out, these are doctor who had been treating me since I was young, and even before I met my dad. The same hospital I was born, that is the same doctor who was treating me. So I remember he approached me before walking out, and he told me, "You look depressed and sad. What is wrong? Even if you're sick, you barely never look like this." So I felt, because this has always been a friend to my mom and he knew my mom, so why not open up? And because he also knows my dad, maybe might be able to talk to him. So I told him, I've been going through this ever since mom passed away. I felt like, everyone has been, distant away from me. I feel so sad. No one is understanding, because one, my dad never showed up for my mom's burial. So it was so hard for me to be there for myself. And my dad never even showed up, even when she was sick, or even come see her even one time. So it was really hard for me to understand, even if they had divorced. And I never understood which tradition really went on there. It was really because I was in the middle. You had your issues, yes, but I was in the middle. So one person is leaving, I want one person to be there for me, but he is distant. That was really what was really hard for me. So I remember after me telling him, I was like, I feel this, I feel lonely, no one talks to me, no one asks me if I'm okay, but deeply I'm not okay, because every time I have ulcers, every time I'm crying, every time I feel alone. I literally had no one to talk to. So he told me, okay, don't worry, I'll talk to your dad. So I remember at that day, after me going home, I was sleeping, resting, waiting for dinner for me to take my medication. I went, and he was called. The doctor called my dad and told him, I need to talk to you. So he went and explained the issue to him. After my dad came home, he was like, you bastard, you are going to tell my problems to the doctors and all this. I was like, that is not your problem. I was just trying to explain my issue. I'm the one who is in pain and who is suffering here. And none of you asked me if I'm okay, you, if I'm sick. Today I was sick. Rather, today I'm from the hospital, and all you have to say is that I'm sick of AIDS, I have STDs and all this. Like, you never see anything good in me ever since I came to your life. All you see is negativity in me. Why? You only see me as a failure. You only see me as a this. Why do you always have to put that energy? It really broke my heart. And I remember me trying to talk to him. I was like, don't even utter another word, I'll slap you. So that really killed me. So, but that is the point. I think I had it all. Like, I was really tired, like really, really tired, because ever since I met this guy, has always been beating me, always angry at me, always negative on me. Like, I've never seen such a father who was so, I never really understood. It's like he was so bitter. Like, why am I in his life? It was really, really so hard. So I remember at that night, after him talking and, calling me names, calling my mom names and all that, it really hurt me. But I was like, I'm sick and I really need to get through this and go back to school. That is why I'll feel better. Maybe because escaping just this, not being at home, just going to school, it will make me feel better. But it was hard. I cried so much because you're sick. One, remember, you're very sick. Like, you don't understand even why you're getting this sick. But also, you're in that point of still mourning, because it was not even long ago. It was after my mom passing away, like 2 months after my mom passing away. So I'm going through all this. It was really hard, really, really hard. So I remember that night I took 50 pills of the medication I was given. I attempted suicide, but it failed. I never took the dinner I was served because I'm stressed. I feel so sad. You're so alone and so sad, and no one is talking to you, not your siblings, not your stepmom, no one is telling you anything. You have to deal with the shit. No one is on your side. Whether you're given names, no one is on your side. You have to deal with the shit. So I remember I took 50 pills and I went to sleep, and I told God, Jesus, here I come. If this is how people die, here I come. So I went to bed, but the next day when I woke up, I was thinking I'd go to school. The next day I woke up, I found myself actually. The next day I woke up, I found myself alive. I said shit. Why am I alive? I said shit. I remember I said shit when I found myself alive, still alive. But I was really really weak because 50 pills I had not eaten the whole day, and I was depending on the dinner which I was supposed to be eating, but which I couldn't take because of the words which you're being fed at the table. Like you're trying to eat, but someone is abusing you, which is so hard, calling you names and all that. It was so, so hard for me and painful. So I remember I woke up and found myself alive. I said, shit, this is crazy. Shit, why am I alive? Why am I still here? He came to my room, which he never really does. That is how bitter he really was with me at that day, because I just went to speak about why I feel like he's distant. He never talks to me, he never asks why I'm okay, or rather he never asks if I'm okay. He's all about his wife and the rest of the kids, not me. I've always been like an outcast. I felt outcasted in a house. So he felt so bitter. To that day he came to my room and asked me, why are you still on bed? I told him I feel very weak. I can't go to school. But I knew what was really eating me up. I knew what was really eating me up was those 50 pills I had taken in that night for me intending to die, and also not eating. That is what was really eating me up, because I was really, really weak to even stand up. He told me, I don't care. You have to wake up and go to school. So I told him I can't. I tried standing up, I couldn't. So I had a phone. I took my phone trying to text my uncle. He took it and banged it on the wall. And he told me, you'll never have a phone in your life in this house. You'll not communicate to anyone telling them your problems. You'll deal with them here. So I cried, I locked myself, and I started dressing up. But I told him, at the end of the day, I never had the strength. I told him I can't walk. I don't have the strength to go to school. I remember he took there's a certain, I don't know how to call it. Nyaunyo inaitwaje? Nyaunyo. There's a certain, not, I don't want to call it a cane, but there's a certain type of the same thing we saw on the Kunta movie, the same slashing thing. It's like you're being beaten. The robe, it's like a robe, but it's a plastic robe. The same thing we saw on the video which Kate made me share of Kunta. Him being stroked. That is the same thing that was being used to me, but they had a part. So that was the worst day and the worst beat I've ever experienced in my life. If I were to tell the worst beat I've ever had in my life, that was the day I've ever been beaten up to almost nearly death. I was beaten because he told me, you have the strength to go and tell your problems to some people who are not even your family, but you don't have the strength to go to school. You're making me pay school fees for someone who is going to be useless in this future. you know He told me so many things as he was beating me. I remember, I don't know if it was a blow he gave me or a slap. I can totally not remember, because all I did is found myself on the ground and he began beating me. And the last thing I remember, for me to be safe, because I was really weak, not even to move. I'm bleeding on my mouth. My face is all red. My body is all swollen because of being beaten. I'm still sick and weak. I've taken the 50 pills during that night intending to die. It was so hard, so hard. So I remember he really forced me to go to school. So I remember me walking out of that door that day, after him beating me to that point and still dragging me to school. All I walked out with, it was an ID and a birth certificate. And I told myself, I'm not coming back to this house. So I remember I had a friend who knew the situation after my mom passed away. So I went to her and told her, hi Tyra, um, this is what is going on, and I don't think I'll be going back to my parents' house. I want to go away. I don't care if I'll become a street child, but I'm done with school and all. If it will take me working with my birth certificate and ID, because that is what is needed for now in my life, then I'll have to. But for now, I want to go and sleep in your home tonight. And she was like, okay. But after school, I was also confused. So I had my ID in my hands and my birth certificate. And I told myself, if I go to this girl's house, she has her parents and her siblings. I still don't know how they're going to figure out my issue. They might help me, but for how long? You know, I was like, for how long? So I had I had to choose either right, because she used to stay on the right side. I had to choose left, which is home, you know. So I had to go on the left side, which was home at the end of the day, because my it was a really bad day for me. After me being beaten, after taking the 50 pills, waking up, my periods began on the same day. I don't have money for pads, you know. If you borrow my, I remember there's a day I borrowed my dad money for pads. That was when I met him for the first time, and that is when my periods had begun. My dad told me I'm disgusting and I should never tell him something like that. You never tell your kids that. Even you as a father, I bet. And I remember even someone told me this, and I appreciate the words, you know. Someone told me, you as a father, you're the one who's supposed to teach your children even how to put on a pad, you know. Even if you don't know how, Google it or search it, be there to embrace them, you know. Be the man you'd want them to see them, you know. Be the man for them at that point, the same way you'd want them to have a man who will play the figure you played as a father in their life, you know. Because for me, I don't think I'd want a man in my life like my dad. Never, never, ever, ever, ever. So that day, I was forced to go home because I had to take a shower. I stayed at school the whole day without a pad. Everyone is coming to class and noticing that I have blood all over my mouth. My mouth, it had split like in a way, because as I said, I don't know if it was a blow which I was given or a slap, because all I did is I found myself on the ground because of not going to school, and because of speaking up my issue of opening up, trying to find help. It was I had to go back home. I went back home. I had a boyfriend. I had a secret boyfriend at that time. So I called him. I took my stepmom's phone without her knowing. I called him and told him what was really going on. And I told him, if you can, kindly come get me out of here, because me, I want to die. I was really tired. I was tired, 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 because you're facing hate in that house. You either called a thief. There's a time my dad called me a thief. I was going to school and he made me unpack everything in my suitcase because of $10 he had lost in his wallet, and he said I am the only one who can take that money and send it to my mom, because at that time my mom was alive. So from the word go, he never loved me. From the word go, he never trusted me. From the word go, he never even wanted to spend on me. So I went back home that day, called the guy, but he said, I can't take you because you are under 18. And if I am found, I'll also be, charged. So those are the rules. Those were the rules, and they were very strict at that time when I was in school. So I had to stay there. My stepmom was trying to like embrace me and all that, but she saved me on that day, because for my dad to stop beating me that earlier before him dragging me to school, she had to lay on top of me and told him, it's enough. If you want to kill her, kill me too. She had to lay on top of me. So at that day, that is when she began winning my trust. So like, you saved me today and all this, I'm grateful and all that. So I began telling her my secrets, not knowing she was also selling me out. Every plan that I had after school, she was selling me out. I remember there's a day, words are really strong. When you hear words are strong, I remember there was a day, the first time my dad laid his hands on me, I told him, after I'm done with school in this house of yours, you'll never see me again. And after high school, I had to walk out. But before I get there, before we also come to the end of the broadcast, after that day, I had things became okay. He went ahead and he never apologized. He never apologized about anything. I had to move on. I was in Form 4. That time I went to Form 4 now, because my mom died when I was in Form 3. the issue happened. Then things calmed down a little bit. Then I moved to Form 4. Now I went to Form 4. During Form 4, during my Form 4 period, it was still so hard. Even where a dad gets your success card, my dad never got me even one, wishing you good and all that. My dad always saw me as a failure and everything, He saw me as a failure and nothing. So I remember after high school, after me getting done with my KCSE examination, the final examination of my high school, we had issues again, because every time I was not that person who was even allowed to chill with people. If weekends I'm not at home, I have to be at work working for him. And the same person you're working for, if you ask him for money, he will not give you even a cent, because do remember, from the word go, he told you, don't even tell me anything. You are disgusting. You're disgusting. That is the first word you get. So I used to stay there. I used to sell. He taught me business. Well, I'm grateful for that. I am very grateful for that. I used to sell a lot. My dad is someone who wants a lot in a day, but he can't give you a cent. That is what I can say. He is a greedy person. So after high school, I remember I told him that I want to look for a job. So he was like, no, you're not going to look for a job. You're going to stay here. And in that period of me staying with him already, it was so hard for me. So I was like, now I'm done with school. And I remember I told you, I said it in my head. I never told him, like, loud again. I said it in my head. I remember I told you after high school, I'll be out of this place. And I meant it. So I'm going to look for a job and I'm going to live my life. I don't want to stay with you anymore. I'm tired. I don't see what is tying me here. My mom wanted me to be done with school. He wanted you to play the father figure, of which you have. It was responsibility for you to take me to school and ensure I'm okay. But you, all you did, my dad, all he ever did is pay school fees and ensure I'm eating. If it comes to the matters of sickness, if he either tells you you have HIV, it's either you're pregnant, it's either you know what is eating you up, you're acting up, you just want to waste his money. He never saw anything beyond that. When it came to shopping, I used to shop for myself. After my mom died, I used to provide for myself. I used to know, I've learned saving, I've learned spending, I've learned at a very young age. It was not easy, but I did. So after high school, I was forced to go out because we had issues. He accused me of stealing. My dad has a very big shop of men's clothes. So at that point, I was staying there because I'm done with high school now. So I I remember there was a day he lost a stock. He was cheating, and my stepmom didn't know, but I knew because I used to see the lady every day. So I remember there was a day he forced me to stay there, and during the evening I had to go somewhere. But he came back and told me that after me leaving, he came back after them going wherever to where they had gone. He told me that he has found a gap of missing 20 missing jeans. And I told him, I don't know, just recount the stock again. Maybe things are not, you've not done the stock, counted the stock well, count the money I've given you and count the stock well again. But he was sure and told me that I am a thief and I should get out of his house. That was after me telling him that I want a job. So in the evening when I came back home and I found him home, he was like, you're nothing but a thief. All you do is steal. And I asked him, what do I steal? What do I always steal? You never pay me, you never do anything. So why do I always have to steal? Why do you always see me as a thief? So it brought a lot of issues. And I told him, no, for real, this time I'm serious. Even if you mean me going out of your house, I will. But I want a job and I'll look for a job. So I texted my uncle. I found and bought a phone after him smashing the other one. I bought a phone and I texted my uncle. I told him, kindly do look for a job for me. He did. I found a job of about $150, but he refused for me to go. After some 2 weeks, I told my uncle my dad does not want me to come to work. He has refused. He thinks you're going to marry, because he used to say you're going to get married now. These people think you're important right now. After your mom died, they were never there for you, because he never wanted me to be there. He never wanted me to be near them. He never wanted me to be associated with anyone, to tell them the problems I was going through and the pain he was making me going through. I was depressed for like 8 years of my life. I was depressed, super depressed, lonely, crying all the time. You're a sad person. That's why even up to date, sometimes you might see me, I'm like this, I'm just quiet. You think I'm sad, but I'm not sad. But again, it's because I used to be sad all the time, till people used to call me a sadist. I was never a sad person deep inside me, within myself. I was never a sad person. But because of the people I grew up with, they made my face look like I was a sadist, but I'm never a sad person. But I can see Robert Williams is saying, I love you, Joby. I love you too. Thank you for being with us. And you're saying that I love your first young lady. Always see yourself as vulnerable. We at Black with Fire appreciate you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And that's why I said here I really found love, because for me, after my mom leaving, and after her giving me up to my dad, she never really gave me up, but she was there before her getting sick. But after her giving me to my dad, I really missed love. I never knew what love was anymore, because all I faced was hatred, beatings. I faced like so much. I was rejected. I faced rejection in a very, very bad way. So I had to move out, because after my dad refusing me not to get a job, I was forced to move out. I had to move out on my own. So I remember I packed everything and I told only my stepmom, but she sold me out. She went ahead and told him even before me telling him. I was planning to tell him that I'm moving out, not knowing where I'm going, but I was really tired. I was so tired. So I remember he came in the evening that day, and he started just arguing out of nowhere. My dad is somehow not only is he bipolar, I think he's crazy in some way. I'm sorry to say, he is my father, he is my blood, but I don't want him in my life anymore. Being honest, you can hurt someone in such a way, well, they never want you ever again. So be careful of how you treat people who you'll never ever get back in your life, even if they are your blood. Be very careful. Be very, very careful how you treat people. So I remember that day he came and started just arguing out of nowhere, only to bring the topic knowing I had packed my bags. So that's when I knew, oh, so this woman has been this. She has been selling me out all along. She's been acting like she's my friend, but she's always been selling me out. So I was like, okay, I told him, yes, I've packed everything and I'm ready to go, because I'm tired. I'm depressed. And if I stay here one more time, will find me on the ground. Like, I'll throw myself from where we are right now. We were living on the fifth floor. I was really, really tired and willing to do anything. So I saw the only way for me to save my life, because I believed I had so much to live for, is for me to walk out. I did. And I told him, no, I told him I'll go the next day in the morning. But he told me, you leave today in the night. So I was like, okay, it's late. Why not you letting me leave tomorrow? He was like, I don't care. You seem like you already are grown up and all this. You can do everything by yourself. You can go. So I was like, okay, I'll not argue. And I really didn't want to argue. And I never argued back with them, you know. So I walked out. I took my bags. It was 12 o'clock, midnight. I took my bags, went. The first person I could call, it was always my uncle, the brother to my mom. And I told him what had happened. I told him, me, I was ready to leave, because you've searched, you've gotten two opportunities for me to get a job. And this guy never gives me money, even if I borrow him money. And I have needs as a lady. He will give his wife, he'll give the rest of the children. But for me, I don't know what's wrong. He has not been allowing me to talk about my issues. So my uncle got very angry, and he called a certain auntie of mine, and I had to go to stay there for like a few days. So the few days ended up being months. So this auntie became very nice to me, and she was a cousin to my mom. She took me to college, but it reached to a certain point. After my mom died, she's the same person who took my younger brother, and educated him for some period of time, but again dropped him in a very ridiculous way, in a very inhumane way. It was really hurting to me. So the same thing she did to me. After her taking me to college, after some time, she dropped. She told me, I can't pay school fees for you anymore, and you have to get out of my house. So that was like, after some few months, now you've gained peace. You're like, now this is where I have to gain peace of mind. I'm going to plan myself this after college. I'm going to stay like this. I had so much planned, like I was so very organized, but people kept turning me down. So I moved out. I didn't argue as always. I packed my bags and left. and I was forced to come stay with a cousin of mine, which I stayed with him for some time. But again, he was tired. He was like, you have to go back to your dad and apologize to him. For what? I never did any mistake. Why do I have to go to apologize to him? He was like, I have these issues and this and this. So at that time, I'm left with no option. That was in 2019. I had to go back to my dad's house. So I walked out of my dad's house. I finished high school in 2017. I walked out of that house in 2018 January. I remember it was on 19th January 2018. Then again, I came back on 2019 during the first, actually, it was on the new year, actually. I came back, we stayed for a while. Then again, he accused me of stealing and calling me a thief and names, and even called me a prostitute. That is how bad it really was. That is how bad he really hated me. Or that's how bad he really hates me. And I walked out. I felt very bad because I'd found some messages. I had gone out and I told him, I'm going out with my friends, then I'll be back at this particular time. So when I went out and came back, he told me that, so you took this money, or you stole these jeans and then went and sold them for you to go out with my money, and saved my own money. But he always saw me nothing as a failure. I can't save, I can't do anything. So that is when the issues, every time he sees you with money, he thinks you have stolen it from him. That was the problem. So I listened at the message. At that time, I'd come back home. So after me getting back home, I'm getting just in the house. I'm hearing, you stupid, you bastard, you, so many abuses, calling you names and all that. So I opened my phone, it had gone off. I listened to the voice notes he had sent me. He was abusing me. So I walked out. He never even knew how I went. I just took my bags the way I was, the same way I came, the handbag, and I walked out. And I came for my clothes later. That was in 2019, date 9. Every date I always record. Then after that, I went and stayed with some friends, which became also hard. I was forced again to move out. Like, I was literally everywhere trying to get help on whichever way I can. But even with all this, all I ever wanted from them was them getting me a job and me just starting my own life. I never wanted to be a burden to anyone. I just wanted a job. All I wanted was a job. I never wanted to go to school. I never wanted to go to college. I never wanted to go to college, actually. I never wanted to do anything with college. All I wanted is someone to give me that opportunity by giving me a job, which so many people denied me. All they wanted was to use me. My aunt used me she benefited in a way. If it is my dad, he used me in his own business and whatever he did. If it is for those people I stated, they used me in their own way and they elevated in their own way, which was and it has been so hard for me. But at the end of the day, I've just gone through so much. But at the end, in 2019, after me moving out of those friends' house, I went again, stayed with another aunt. She passed away. I was again forced to move to my dad's place. That was in 2020. Then after that, my dad realized I was dating someone from, it was an African person, but he was living in Dubai at that time. So there's the African mentality, which you see someone from Dubai, or they are associated with anything to do with a foreigner's country. You want to force them to stick. You want to force them stick with them. So my dad started the mentality of, I want you to get married. You're already too big. I was 20 at that time. I was 21. 2020, I was 21. I remember he forced me and told me, I want you to get out of this house. You're already too big to be staying in this house. I want you to get married already. That couple you're dating, you can't just tell or rather say, you people, you don't have any plans. And he had just so much. And I told him, I'm not getting married. I'm not ready for marriage, and you're not going to choose for whom I'm going to get married. And I never said this person is my husband for you to start forcing me things I don't want to do. So things became very, very tough for me. I had to leave again. But at that time, that is when I began, that is when things started flowing. I had to stay with a cousin till some certain time, then to where I am right now. So it was not easy. But with all this, with all everything I really went through, what I can say at the end of the day is that it taught me patience. Because even with me not being, or rather being homeless, I can say I got so many opportunities which were not really good or rather clean, but I denied them. So patience taught me a lot. pain gave me strength, and it gave me strength and also made me walk out of fear, because despite me being given some certain sort of fears, or if you do this, you're too exposed, you do this, you do this, you this, I penetrated in my own way. And I'm just so grateful for being here, and I'm grateful for the love you guys have shown me. I'm just so grateful. And that is the story that I had for you today. I can't really give all the details to avoid emotions. Sorry to skip some parts, but that is the story of my life. That is what I've really gone through. It has been not easy. And in case maybe you're wondering if you are in good terms with my dad, no. For him, yes, he might be in good terms with me, but for me, I'm not, because the pain still hurts me so much up to date. For me, seeing myself, I can't go visit my family, and if I go visit them without having money, not them showing me just love, the love I want, I'm not a family to them. That is what they want. They just want money. That is what they showed me. Because even after school, every time I used to call them, ask them how they are, even despite the pain they made me go through, is that, when are you going to come? What are you going to bring home? What money do you have? Which is not necessary. Show people love. There's beyond money. There is something beyond money. That is what I really learned from my pain. But family, I'm coming to the end of today's broadcast. Thank you, Robert, for listening, and to the rest of the family who are also listening. And for those who would watch the replay, I do hope that just treat your kids. If you have one, or if you have two, or if you have a kid, if you had a baby mama before your current baby mama, treat your kid with the same love and respect, the same way you're showing these other kids. Don't choose, because for me, as I said, I felt outcasted. But for me to you now, much love, family. And I'm glad I didn't shed a tear. I got emotional, but I didn't shed a tear. But much love, family. I'll see you on the written scripture later on. This has been the Thursday story with me, your host, Joby. For now on out.